What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the #1 live tuning show in all the known universe. What is going on? So, got a couple people in here already. We'll give everybody else a couple minutes to show up. And in the meantime, what up, Jim, Cole, DZ, Hillary, WS6, good to see you. Andrew, as usual, my brother from down under, Jerry and Rick. And there's Jason. Hey everybody, what's new in the world of tuning? What have you guys done? Oh, man, it's getting a little bit out of control. It's still going. It's still going. Hey Jamil, hey Mike. Yeah, the hair is epic. Hey Super Slow. Oh wow, Deb is in here on her own account. Hi Deb. I feel very special now. Damn hippies, exactly. Has everybody been tuning? Anybody doing any tuning lately? Any kind of modifications? Hey, Dad. I don't know if that's Leroy Crawford. He's got a nuclear bomb blast. That doesn't seem like my dad. Aw, thanks, Dad. Zoe De Lo Soul, you are welcome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for showing up. Lots of waiting. I'm waiting on parts also. Hey, Brad. I am waiting on parts also. For the truck, actually. Waiting on some parts for the truck. Found that output shaft broke in my 4L60. That's no fun. Salty roads, man. Gotten lucky. No salt on the roads here yet. But I think we're going to go put the Corvette up tomorrow. It's been raining, it's been warm, but I think we're getting ready to get hit by the polar blast. So, time to swap it out. What up, LS? Good to see you again, brother. Hey, Henry. Hi to California. Jay Finesse made it. Yeah, I know. It was 63 here, Jim. 63 degrees. Jamil says it was 82. And I was asking about what Christmas like was in the summer down under. Might as well be the same up here. There you go, man. Watch the videos and take it one step at a time. Hanging in the 50s. 70 yesterday, 24 today. South Dakota, that sounds about right. Found rusty fuel lines, so upgrade time for those. Waiting on the rear coilovers for the truck. It never ends, Super Slow. It never ends. Jason, I'm still waiting on your question, man. Any questions for that matter. Everybody ready for the holidays? It is creeping up very quick. Right around the corner. Can get about 110 Fahrenheit here in Christmas. I appreciate you doing the conversion for us Americans. Wearing shorts, that's what I'm talking about. Gen 3, when I increase the cylinder volume in the VCM editor, hypothetically say from 350 to 405, all my VE tables decrease automatically. This is because of less fuel in the cylinder. That's interesting. I did not know that your VE values would decrease automatically whenever you would increase the cylinder volume in the VCM editor. So essentially what that number is the calculation of the amount of, the volume that the cylinder is drawing in that's used as your volumetric efficiency. But I wouldn't think that it would get smaller. You would think that it would get bigger because you're pulling more air in. That seems backwards. Tommy, go and try to log the 402 GTO this weekend. Nice. Can't decide if we should upgrade my MPV1 Pro to MPV2 Plus Pro. No hurries, Jerry. No hurries. Henry, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to show up to the live show. Glad the videos are helping out. With fuel prices, what is some strategy for some fuel savings, whether it be fuel or timing on the Gen 3 platform? Gen 3 might even have lean cruise mode that you can actually lean it out beyond stoic at low throttle inputs whenever cruising. But the big thing is just make sure everything's dialed in. You know, that's where you start seeing bad fuel economy, is just not getting your airflow dialed in. Should I increase those numbers back up, and by what percentage? And what about MAF calibration table? Did it get raised by the same amount? So a general rule of thumb on that, Jason, is to go ahead and calculate the percentage difference between your original displacement and your new displacement, and apply that to something like your MAF tune. So if you're 10% more displacement, bump up your MAF. You know, well, MAF will not matter because MAF is it's measuring mass. Technically, VE shouldn't really matter either because you're taking that measurement from the intake manifold. You know what? Just fire it up and start tuning it. Going from the 350 to a 405, it will be drawing more air in, but your mass airflow tables and your volumetric efficiency tables, your volumetric efficiency table might need to be bumped up. Yeah, but MAF should not. You should just be in a higher area of your mass airflow chart. And so, do the calculation, 350 to 405, say it's 15% higher. Set your VE tables back to what they were, then add 15% and go from there. But honestly, the VE table will probably fire up a 405. You just don't want to drive on it because you will get lean pretty quick there. Got my new turbo. Even though I'm trying to get good miles per gallon, the current turbo leaks old into the intake exhaust streams. Oil, gotcha. Well, did you go bigger, Mike? Bernard says, found the issue with the AFR gauge running lean on my right blank, overfueling on the LS3 charge V8. Ended up being 3 dead or dying coils on the right bank. Yep, that'll do it. And Bernard, I've used the same process in the past to figure out whenever I have an issue, you know, where one cylinder is not firing for whatever reason. Maybe a coil's not plugged in properly, or this plug wire is not seated. You'll see that bank go really rich. Brian, glad to hear you finally got the shirt. Sorry it took so long. I finally got some stuff shipped out from months ago. 5380E running fine for 2 years now. Hits a lean cut around 4K. Nothing changed. Plugs and wires, no change. Got coils and new O2s I gotta try first. Hitting a random lean cut around 4K. Tom Henderson, check your fuel pressure. Make sure your fuel pump's not dying. What about using a Nitrous Express TPS RPM controller to turn on my secondary fuel pump? Absolutely nothing wrong with that, Jerry. Bernard, another Aussie. Love you guys. Nothing wrong with that idea, Jerry. I like that idea, in fact. Quick question, since I got my HP tuners, can I just get rid of my decoded digital box for my speedometer? Is it all it's doing is updating your signal, Henry? You should be able to go in through HP tuners, go to the speedo section, and update the calibration there for any gear tire changes to get that thing reading back on, if that's all the decoded digital is doing. Now, if the decoded digital is taking one signal and converting it to another for your speedometer, you may be stuck with it. You're welcome, Tom. Thanks for stopping by the live show. Thanks for watching. Ted, do I owe you a shirt? If I do, shoot me an email. I went through my list of what I thought I had and tried to get out shirts to everybody except for Deb's. Deb, your shirt is in a box along with other stuff waiting to be mailed out. I took it down to the post office the other day. There was 30 people in line, so I did not drop it off. Once I get by the post office, though, Andrew and Deb, you got a package on the way. 07 STSV, new deck of 60s, new coils, new 2-step Coulter plugs. Went from stock tune with a 2.8 pulley to a 2.4. Now seeing a 10% fuel imbalance. No exhaust leaks either. What would you look at? Exhaust leaks. I'll be honest with you, if you're seeing a 10% fuel imbalance, that's probably not quite enough to worry about it. But if you do have an imbalance, 99% of the time it's an exhaust leak that you can't find. Smoke test it, or pressure test it. Jam a shop vac into the exhaust with a rag and blow it into the exhaust and spray soapy water on every joint. Upstream of your O2 sensors, you probably have a minute leak that is enough to cause it to skew. In general, you can just probably look at Jamil, the one that's lean. That side that's lean is probably the one that's having the problem. Got my headers installed in my 6th gen Camaro SS. My wide band gauge jumps lean to like 1.05 to 1.07 the back stoic. I might think it could be an exhaust leak. What do you think? Jesse, definitely could be, but generally it wouldn't jump. It'll be more consistent. But maybe, I don't know. Try free air calc on your sensor. Maybe even try a new sensor. Been here in a hot minute. Still got the big block Chevy Chevelle. Actually, it's a Nova, Eric, and I still do. And it's running great. It's just in storage right now. It is ready for Rocky Mountain Race Week next year. I might try get around to the point of putting a gear vendors on it before then because I'm running 411 gears in it. And so it just does not go fast with that 2-speed. A325. How do you feel about trying to keep open loop at idle with a cam with over 10 degrees overlap? Totally makes sense, Tom, because closed loop at idle will struggle with aggressive cams. And it just causes issues. Specifically, even your wideband will have a hard time at idle sometimes, Tom. And so you more than likely may have to just dial in your idle fueling, by feel, by smell, all that stuff. Use temperature gun on the headers, found low temps. Yep. That will definitely be it. That's awesome. In fact, Bernard, I've got a pretty sweet little infrared camera that I need to shoot a video on that I bought specifically for checking headers at a glance. It's really cool whenever you can just pull it up, take a look, and boom, you can see all four and whether or not they're in the same range. Yeah, and that's the thing is you're probably getting a lot of air, Tom, into your exhaust, so it's adding a lot of fuel because it thinks it's running lean. Mr. Schmidt had finishing up my VVE tuning. Wow, what a difference. I'm telling you, man, that's why it's so important to do VVE. What do you think of Ghost Cam Tune? Lou just heard of this and was wondering what you think. I mean, where they just basically create a terrible idle? Fuzzy Moto, you will have to elaborate. My biggest challenge of the cam upgrade that I installed. Yeah, biggest change to the cam. Gotcha. Nah, 10% isn't too bad. Building a 6.0 for the strip, how much horsepower can the HP tuner go up to, hoping to hit 800 to the wheels? HP tuners can go, depending on what platform, I mean, honestly, even the Gen 3s, you can go well over 800. Don't worry about that. There's you're going to run into issues on injector scaling whenever you get to injectors big enough to start making 800 on certain platforms, things like that, but there's workarounds for that stuff. Other tuner buddy told me it was 10% imbalance was bad. It's not as bad as when he was making out to be. Nah, honestly, 10% was probably kind of on the verge of where I would start worrying about it. What up, DZ? What'd you reckon on those smart coil 40,000 volts plus? I don't know, man. I installed some of the MSD coils on the Corvette just because I was in there. I've never upgraded coils on a GM platform. I was running the stock coils on the L83 with, 25 pounds of boost and didn't have any issues. I have a 5.7 that I just put a BTR Stage 2 truck cam in, 90mm throttle body, long tube headers, everything else is stock. Can I safely start this with a stock-based tune? Yeah, Saxon, listen, I mean, it'll either run or it won't. And you're not going to hurt anything at idle. Honestly, as I've said in the past, NA engines are very hard to hurt. It's whenever you start boosting engines that you get into trouble because you're really up in that cylinder pressure. What up, TJ? Yeah, I know, TJ. I still owe you a package. I shipped out all the stuff the other day, and after I got back from UPS, I realized I forgot to box your stuff up. Low P idle for no power gains isn't that bad for the motor. You might get some weird piston slap or something on there that could cause some scoring on the cylinder walls, fuzzy. Tom says, do you think you can make a video on some tuning where you use things besides airflow wideband for idle tuning, like using manifold vacuum and target idle air and spark, etc.? Would love to see it done. Somebody's a carburetor guy. Tom, yeah, we probably could dive into a little bit of that, you know, because that's the way it really was done back in the days. It was adjusting timing while watching vacuum to kind of get everything sorted out, you know, for a good idle. There you go. Imbalance is only bad the more horsepower you make. Makes sense. 10% is a big imbalance at 1,000 horsepower. Henry asks, can you tune a car by disabling the bank 102 sensor and replace it with a wideband? Yep, that's the easiest way to do it. No reason to get a bung in there because we're disabling those sensors during the tuning process anyways. And then whenever you're done, and in fact, I've got a custom tune that I was doing the other day who did the same thing. We got done with the airflow side of it. It said, hey, throw the stock one back in there. Let's look at the trims. Trims were spot on. Everything's looking good there. So, weird byproduct is I actually got a couple miles per gallon more after VVE. I believe it because there's so much that goes on with using volumetric efficiency calculations throughout the entire ECU. Listen, the ECU as a whole relies more on volumetric efficiency than it does on mass airflow. Mass airflow is just whenever you're getting on it. You know, it's there 10% of the time. Volumetric efficiency does all the heavy lifting, not tuning VE. It's worthless, man. It's worthless. Don't do it. Don't do it. I didn't mean to hide that. Bernard, let me see if I can unhide it. I clicked the wrong thing. I don't know. He basically asked how the meth injection project's going. It's good. I haven't updated any of the jet sizes yet, so I haven't been doing any tune on it and make it larger. Because the big thing right now is that it's just the roads are cool enough that I can't get traction as it is, much less traction making more power. UPS, FedEx charging more the further and bigger, heavier things are now. Yeah, no, I shipped a Pro Charger head unit the other day, and it cost me almost $50. Temperature is a lot more, 200 gallons per hour. There's Leroy Crawford. Hey, Dad. Well, I appreciate it, TJ. I will get that stuff shipped out to you, though. What up, Danny? 0.3 miles per gallon less than what it was at stock is a pretty good for making it quite a bit more horsepower and then still staying within that much miles per gallon. Yep, exactly. Even one little Cruise 1.6 turbo stock uses blended MAF VVE all the way up to the red line. Everything does. That's the problem with MAF only tunes. You know, it's all the dynamic is the final say-so on airflow calculations. You just cannot get rid of volumetric efficiency. We can do away with the MAF. We can do that. The speed density portion of the tune will always be there. I don't understand why people don't want to do the speed. I understand why they don't want to because it takes time, and people are just lazy. Yeah, Blue Cat transmission table generator is awesome. Go heat those roads up. Yeah, if you listen carefully, my Camaro sitting in the garage is losing traction. That's exactly what I'm going through. In fact, I had a new pair of shoes on the other day that the soles were really stiff on, and I couldn't even feel the pedal, and so I was just doing smoky burnouts everywhere. Like, I couldn't even leave a stop sign without getting sideways. I looked like a total ass. I'm going to do an OS swap to use E85, but since I'm P01 ECM, I can only go to 2-bar. Kind of works around while I have available. I just need to swap ECMs. I mean, if you're exceeding 2-bar, you're just kind of hosed on that one, super slow. Going to get any gearbox tuning and do videos on it? Or you're not interested in that side of things? I mean, I may do a couple more small videos on it, but I'll be honest with you, the transmission tuning is so subjective. There's only a couple things that are kind of set in stone on the transmission side of things. Then outside of that, it's going to be the feel. And we can talk about some of that. And we've talked about a little bit of it in the past, just kind of adjusting some pressures and talking about oncoming pressures, etc. But, you know. And I found the other side of it is transmissions are a lot easier to destroy than motors in most cases. So lowered PE enable KPA, RPM, and TPS 0 to only way to open loop idle. On Gen 3, no, Tom, you should be able to just literally go into the oxygen sensor and closed loop tabs and disable short terms and long terms. And it'll always be an open loop. Check out some of my videos on that. I've got some videos on the initial setup, Tom, that will talk about what to change. How do you save changes after you raise the y-axis on the torque table? Mine won't save. Yeah, it saves, Danny. You just have to raise the y-axis every time you edit the tables. Those values change. Now, keep in mind whenever you edit the virtual torque tables that it is doing the math calculations and it smooths those things down, and so your numbers will always be less than what you put in there. So you may have to adjust it a couple times. Jamil, you're right on the Blue Cat stuff. I've always found that the shift mile per hour is a little bit off for me also, and it causes me to bump the red line, and I have to go in there and maybe bring it down a mile per hour or two. VVT tuning for horsepower. I mean, we don't really do VVT tuning for horsepower on any of the platforms. You know, there's some very minor stuff that VVT does on the 4th gen, such as transmission line pressure. On the 5th gen, VVT is everything, but we don't do it for horsepower per se. We do it to make the ECM happy, to say that this is achieving the amount of torque that it should be achieving, which allows the motor to command as much timing and breathe as much air as possible. But other than that, VVT has no direct connection to power output. Oh man, Kyle says he's got -40 in ice covered roads. What up, James? Getting low voltage on both knock sensors are replaced with new parts and still getting code. Scott, explain your setup more. You got a swap setup, or is this a stock ECU with the original engine? Quick tip, first tune BTR stage 4 truck cam. Get it up and running, start from idle, move out from there, Dustin. Might have to go in and lower your cranking VE by 20% or so to get to crank up. But once you get that kind of worked out, just start doing volumetric efficiency tuning from the get-go. Do math afterwards. Oh, as far as, okay, Tom, as far as setting up open loop for closed loop. No, there's another way that you can do that just for idle, Tom. Mercy, I don't have the stuff. Tom, shoot me an email. Go over to the website, shoot me an email. You're asking a specific question. I thought you were talking about in tuning. But no, you still want to be able to go in closed loop. You just want to go in closed loop outside of idle. P&W car mods and maintenance. Kyle, have you ever done any work or videos with throttle cracker, throttle follower on Gen 3 PCMs? It's a common thing for last resort idle sag correction. Correct. Yes. And so you got to understand how the throttle cracker works and the throttle follower works. The throttle cracker is going to be the one that you're probably getting your idle sag on. Your follower B cracker is going to be the one as your idles come back down. It's trying to catch it. And if you get overzealous on the cracker, it catches it too high and you get idle hang. If there's not enough airflow on the cracker, it allows the throttle to dip too low before it catches back up, look at the throttle cracker airflow settings, and if you're getting sag, try adding 10% to the airflow table, base airflow table for the Dirt Floor Fab has become a member. Wow. Congratulations, man. Sneaking up on 2 years, 22 months. Thank you, brother. It's good to see you too, man. Can you believe it's been almost 2 years? Would you replace a blow off right before the throttle body, after map sensor or before map sensor? Okay, so if you place a blow off valve after the map sensor, what happens is you vent out metered air and it causes you to run super rich. So you want to vent before the mass airflow sensor. That way that air that you're venting to atmosphere is not metered and considered air that the engine is breathing. Very important. Oh, I thought you, Chevy for life, I thought you were talking about virtual torque, not virtual valve timing. Sorry. You get VTT and VVT mixed up. I do. That's my problem. Yeah, blow off MAF throttle body. VVT parameters won't actually change valve. Yeah, they will. But honestly, on a push rod motor like this, messing with VVT is a waste of time. So if you had a dual overhead cam car, I would say, man, let's dig into VVT and let's go ham on it. For a Chevy motor, VVT is there for emissions. Sneaking up on 60K. I know we're like, what are we at 59,000 or so right now. So we're going to hit 60K in the next month. Crazy, 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 crazy. And it's just been awesome because it's been like so steady. If you go back and look at the last 2 years, I get almost the same number of subscribers every month, which makes me happy because that's just that many more people that are coming into the tuning market and willing to take this stuff up on their own or try and figure out if it's something that they want to do on your own. Like if I can even help somebody make the decision, like that's been sitting on the fence of like, I think I want to learn how to tune. If my videos help somebody to say, I'm going to take the plunge, man, that is what it's all about right there. Yes, Mike, VVT on your platform is more than emissions, but you're not a push rod V8. Tom, it's in the next tab. Okay, some of you have dual overhead cams. Chevy for life, what are you doing this on? Have the live feeds played a role in growth of your channel? Joe, I don't know that they necessarily grow the channel so much as the live feeds just, we have more people that already exist. Because if you're coming to my channel, you're not going to necessarily watch one of these live feeds unless you've already been watching some of the other videos. And then you're watching specifically to kind of, ask questions and stuff like that. Correct. Big thing for any forum is if you need help, post your tune file on a log. Don't worry, nobody's going to make fun of you. I know what it is because people like worry that if I post a log in a tune file, somebody's going to be like, oh, what are you? You're a dummy. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They may ask you like, what was your thought process behind this? Or they may point out like the way that you're doing this portion is wrong and stuff like that. But that's how you learn. Nobody's going to like point at you and be like, oh, you're an idiot. You shouldn't be doing this, blah, 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 blah. So like everybody, and that's the thing, especially around the garage, Goat Road Garage, if you go to our forums, if you go to our Facebook page and join the Facebook page, which I'm not on the Facebook page that often. I jump on there every once in a while. I just don't do Facebook. But there's a lot of people over there helping each other out. That's what it's all about. People are helping each other out because a guy that may answer a question today may have a question tomorrow that somebody else can answer. Chevy for life, you just can't say my car. You know how many cars? I've got over 3,000 tune files on my computer. Awesome, PNW. 09 GMC 53 BTR cam stage 2 just finished VV and MAP tuning with wideband. Turn the LFT and O2s back on. Long tube reading will go like 18%. Tony Matlock, do you have long tube headers? Sounds like you got long tubes. Awesome, James. And that's the stuff that there's just not been very good information out there, is like virtual torque. Dang, Skippy. Negativity gets nobody anywhere. Ugh. You know, the podcast stuff, I used to take the live show and throw it over to a podcast so people that missed the show could listen to it, and then TJ was the only guy. You're correct, Joe. Facebook will cause the end of the world. Jesse, I don't, but it's funny that you say that. LT's latest video actually has that part number for the AEM widebands. So let me see if I can find a link to LT's video, because I was watching it just the other day. And he's got the Bosch part number. If you hear noise, I apologize. Okay, let me share, copy this link. Okay. Go check out that video, and it has the Bosch part number about halfway through for the wideband sensor that you can pick up locally for the 4.9. Yeah, I think it's the one that he listed as the 17025. Dustin, yeah, I sell tunes over on my website. GoRoadGuards.com if anybody didn't know. Remember it, bookmark it, save it. Make it your homepage. Thanks, Jason. Listen, thanks, everybody. It's 8:30. It's that time to wrap up. What's next week? Next week is not Christmas Eve. It's the day before Christmas Eve. So, plan on trying to do a show next week. We'll see what goes. Yes, and as Joe Simpson says, buy more than one of those sensors. Listen, I buy the cheap widebands off of Amazon. I've not had any issues with those. Those work pretty well. Let me find a link. And for the price, they're like $37 on Amazon. Because an LSU 4.9 is an LSU 4.9 is an LSU 4.9. They're all the same. I'll throw this link up here real quick. And I buy them like 3 or 4 at a time. Because I've got them for, you know, the Nova. I've got them for all the different cars. I've got at least 3 cars with wideband sensors in there. And so it's always a great idea to have a couple of these things sitting around. Now, if you have experience with the cheap ones, and they haven't worked for you, yeah, they're not a Bosch. No. Yeah, the cheap ones work. Everything works. A 4.9 is a 4.9 is a 4.9. Which tuning class would you recommend? Redline, go over and check out our affiliate HP Academy. Those are the guys that I've chosen to partner with. There is a link in the description so you can save some money. The cool thing is you can go over and see all the classes that they offer and take some complimentary classes and stuff like that without buying. And they have a return policy if you don't like the classes. But it's a good basic like stuff that gets in through EFI and HP tuners. Is, you know, it's more generalized EFI, but it does touch on some HP tuner stuff. So, Merry Christmas, everybody. If I don't see you next Thursday, hopefully I'll see you. And you guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. ABT, always be tuning.